spoilers for the most recent chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is chapter 236 at this point. So, with the conclusion, or I suppose climax, of the Gojo versus Sukuna fight at its end, I feel as it's appropriate to reflect on what's happened in this fight. A lot's happened. Wow. Being a Sukuna dick rider was not easy these couple months, but it has paid off. I have been Team Sukuna, and it was a little rough, but it is Gojo over. Gojo Satoru he's dead, or well, dying. Maybe he'll get like a chapter or two, like alive. He's like, oh, Megami, your father is I gave your dad another hole. But with with the end of this very intense fight over, I felt it was appropriate to discuss something I noticed that I haven't seen anyone else talk about yet. And to be fair, every time there's new leaks, about 6 new channels pop up with new videos within the hour of the leaks. And that's only 6 that I know. There could be tons of more, so this point might have been made already, but I'm still gonna make it. You know why? Because content is a little dry. Or I'm lazy. But what am I talking about? What has this fight done that warrants a video about Gojo? I mean, yeah, it's a big fight for Gojo, and a big moment for his life, or the end of it. What is so important about this fight that it requires me to sit my ass down and talk? And the answer to that is, funnily enough, almost completely in line with the anime, where it is right now. 4 episodes ahead, if I get this out when I want, or maybe a little earlier, we'll see. But it's Geto's question to Gojo.
君は五条悟だから最強なのか、最強だから五条悟なのか。
And I think this fight has more than proven that Gojo is the strongest because he's Gojo. To start, the fight started with domain battles, and in this round 1, as Sukuna and Gojo called it, Gojo just puts out a little showcase and like a little TED talk on how he can just change his domain rules. He can make it smaller to unrealistic sizes. He can switch the outside with the inside, the rules. He can make a binding vow to just change or alter the way his domain works. And, Sukuna does this as well, but it's implied Gojo does it first, and Sukuna responds, which is something we also know he does in response to Kenjaku, where he sees him make him a cursed object, and then he can do it himself. And I actually forgot that Gojo even, or it was such a big deal that Gojo was doing this, because, I mean, I've been thinking more about Sukuna's domain, because it's open, and so he can just kind of choose where it goes. So that one's been a little bit more interesting, and we kind of moved off to, hands in round 2, but, going back, looking over this video, or for this video, I saw, the teacher, I forgot his name, the guy, I think it's Miwa's teacher, I don't know, I'm so sorry, I'm not a real fan, fake fan, but he mentioned that domains should innately have a set of rules that cannot be changed, but Gojo decided that was funny and goofy, and he decided he is better and he can change them, which is just a point in favor of, if it was Yuta in this fight who was mimicking the limitless technique, and he, let's say for some reason he had Gojo's domain, Yuta wouldn't have thought, probably couldn't do it. He probably wouldn't have thought of it, he probably couldn't do it. He couldn't change his domain like Gojo did. And not to gang up on Yuta, because I love my guy Yuta. Sidetrack, I was on Team Yuta, that he was willing to go out there and fight. Seeing all the memes that, like, Yuta's up next and him, like, being terrified, I thought were always a little dumb, because my guy Yuta is kind of cracked. He's not a pussy. But I'm gonna gang up on him for a minute. He also admits that he would not be able to do what Gojo's doing with his curse technique after the domains, which is going into the weird thing Gojo does to replenish his curse technique after his domain is expanded, and being able to use his technique way faster. The way Yuta explains it is that the mind is kind of like an engine, and he uses cursed energy to essentially, like, keep the engine intact. And whenever he uses a domain expansion, the motor or engine gets too hot, and he has to wait a little before he can use his curse technique, since curse techniques are generally imbued into the domain itself. And Yuta is not only unable, well, he's completely unsure of how Gojo does it, and he might not be able to do it at all, but he probably wouldn't do it either, which is another reason I wanted to talk about this. Gojo, it's pointed out that Gojo is willing to do anything to win this fight. He's going all out. And having him literally destroy parts of his brain to replenish his technique is absurd, honestly. That he was willing to, like, blow up parts of his brain, bring them back for, like, a couple, like, seconds faster to use his technique. And the way Yuta explains it through the engine metaphor, so it's a little more clear if nobody got it. Instead of cooling down the engine, Gojo just goes and buys a new engine, and he rides that one until he buys a new one, which Gojo could probably do because he's kind of rich. I think he has like a 12 million yen shirt. Don't ask me why I know that. I just think I do. But this is just a couple or two of the reasons that I think Gojo is the strongest. The strongest is Gojo because it's Gojo. If Yuta was about, let's say, I'm gonna use Yuta because he has the copy technique, mimicry, so it's like he's kind of a good candidate. But let's say Yuta and Gojo equalize stats, the same technique, both like same level experience, but they were still, one was Yuta, one was Gojo. Gojo would still win because Yuta cannot Yuta cannot reach like the conclusions Gojo can with his like battle IQ. He's willing to do like he's willing to almost kill himself to win. And he does it without testing it too. He just does it on the fly. So just to conclude, Gojo is the strongest because he is Gojo. If Geto was as strong as Gojo, had the same technique, he still wouldn't be able to beat Gojo. So I really just wanted to talk about this since it's the end of Gojo with chapter 236 coming out, and it's a big chapter. It's really important, and I'm still loving the series. And I cannot wait to see. Whew. I am really enjoying. I cannot wait to see what Gege is cooking up for us. Because it's definitely not a happy ending, let me tell you that. Unless you're a Sukuna fan, which I am. So the Sukuna dick riding is gonna go crazy. But hey, that's gonna be all from me today. I just wanted to talk about this new chapter since it just came out today, or the leaks for it, and I've been following the leaks for so long, and I've been glazing up Sukuna, so felt right to make a little video. If you made it this far, you probably watched my other video, my Hell of a Boss one. Thank you so much for the support on that. I kind of just made that one out of, like, obligation, because I was gonna do an old Hell of a Boss video on, Western Energy, I believe it was, the episode at the time. But I never got around to it, so I was expecting maybe, like, 60 views. It's almost at 2K right now. So I really do appreciate that. I did a little bit of a poll, which you can go vote on right now if you want. And there's a pretty strong majority for more Hell of a Boss content, so as soon as I finish this video up, I'm going to be working on some more Hell of a Boss content and talking about it, since so many of you really enjoyed hearing me talk about it. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. People liked it, apparently. But thank you for getting this far. Subscribe if you made it this far, I guess. No balls. Have a great day. Bye.